On today's Cooking Crave, we have a couple submitted recipes that go back generations. That's all coming up next. Hi, I'm Rhonda Fitterer.
And I'm Laverne.
And we have a couple submitted recipes this week from some of our viewers that they go back in their families for generations. So I'm pretty excited to do this. Trace, our cameraman, and his family have made this Mississippi mud cake, and I guess it's to die for. Along with Sarah Yenser, one of Mom's co-workers, submitted this stuffed pepper soup. So I don't know that I've ever had a stuffed pepper soup.
Well, I have not either, but I understand it is wonderful.
I guess if you like stuffed peppers, you know, it's just bound to reason that you're going to like the soup as well. So if you want to cook, come along and cook with us, just get a piece of paper and write down these ingredients. What you're going to need for the soup, you're going to need 1.5 pounds of ground beef, 1 red, green, and yellow pepper, 29 ounces of diced tomatoes, 29 ounces of crushed tomatoes, 2 beef bouillon cubes, a 1/4 cup brown sugar, 1 tablespoon soy sauce, couple cups of cooked rice, salt and pepper, and water. So pretty.
It's very simple.
Very simple, but I think it's just going to be very good.
It will.
And for the cake, I think this is going to be the best part of this show because, you know, it's chocolate. But.
It's the ultimate.
So for the cake, you're going to need 1 teaspoon of soda, 2 cups of sugar, 2 cups flour, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a stick of butter, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1/2 cup Crisco, 4 tablespoons cocoa, a cup of water, 2 eggs, and 1/2 cup of buttermilk. And then the icing comes a little bit later after we cook this. But stick of butter, 4 teaspoons cocoa, well, actually, I'm sorry, 4 tablespoons of cocoa, 6 teaspoons of milk, a box of powdered sugar, a cup of nuts, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla.
What can't be good about that?
This is when you really love somebody.
That's right. Yes, it can be a Valentine's cake or something,
Absolutely.
right?
Where do you want to start?
We're going to start with our soup.
Okay.
I did put the oven on at 400 degrees for the cake, so that'll be ready to go. But we're going to come over here to the stove and we're going to get started with our soup here.
Okay.
We're going to start with about 1.5 pounds, 1 to 1.5 pounds of hamburger.
Okay.
Whatever you may have.
We started with a hot skillet.
Yeah,
here.
I got it hot. So we'll, and what you want to do is just brown that.
Okay.
We're going to cook the hamburger and then we're going to put the, okay, we'll turn that down just a little bit. I wanted to get that going, but I guess I had it going too much.
We have some steam. We're going to get a facial.
Yeah, that right. Okay. So we're just going to cook that. And then it's pepper and salt to taste. Oh, no. Oh, okay. We'll just take it off and sit, whatever.
It's just right there. Just wait.
There is no battery for that one. It's we found that out. Okay, it'll be fine.
Well,
it smells
Dirty
delicious.
Dirty rat. Okay, so where are we gonna
where
go?
do we need to start?
Just pull into the cat.
Yeah, I'll pull in and you can just keep messing with the meat and then I'll pull out. And then y'all can just start from the beef, I suppose.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay, we are just browning our 1.5 pound hamburger. And I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper just directly to the hamburger.
Okay.
You're going to just add pepper and salt to taste. I'm not going to put a lot of salt in there because, you know, we have all the stewed tomatoes that do have a little bit of salt in. So you can always add that later if you need more.
All right.
And as soon as we've got our hamburger brown, which is just about there, we're going to put the pepper peppers in. And again, you can do any combination you want. We have, and if you like all green pepper, which gonna have a little stronger pepper taste to it, but you can do red, yellow, green, just any combination that you want. Just chop that up, and then we're going to put it in with the hamburger and just saute that for about a minute.
Well, the one thing I noticed, like, I personally like the orange and the yellow peppers. They're just more mild.
They are. There's a lot of difference. I don't notice a lot of difference in taste from the yellow to the orange. You know,
Versus green, I should say.
Well, but the green makes a lot of difference. That definitely has a lot stronger pepper flavor.
But in a soup, you're going to want something that has a little bit more punch to it.
Yeah,
Just...
you want a little zing to it with the green peppers. So it was 3 peppers that I had, and I just chopped those. And you know, my peppers were fairly large, but you know, any combination or whatever, if they're not real big, that's fine too. You can always add 4, or just once you make the soup and find out that you really like it, you can adjust, you know, to the taste that you know you prefer.
Okay.
And stuff. So let's just get that mixed up with that. I mean, and it's so simple. It's really easy. You know, goes quickly.
Well, and this is going to be a pretty hearty soup. You have not only the meat but a lot of rice as well.
Well, you know, the recipe said 2 cups cooked rice. Well, I went and made 2 cups of minute rice. You know,
So you have 4 cups of rice.
Well, maybe a little bit more than 2 cups, and we'll kind of see. And again, you know, it's going to be just a matter of choice, you know, preference. If you like a little bit more rice or not, I may not use all of that, but
well, the one thing with the rice, if you put more in, you'll just not. It's going to be more of a stew based instead of a soup, more liquid.
it will be a little bit thicker. But then what you do is you just add a little bit more water.
Well, there you
to thin
go.
it down. So, okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add. I got 2 cans of stewed tomatoes. It says 29 ounces. So I've got 2 cans, which it says 30 ounces. So that's be fine. That's what we're going to use. And then I got 2 cans of diced tomatoes.
Okay.
There we go. And I know I'm going to be using a little bit more water, so I'm going to just add a little water to our cans here and just rinse them out. And it does make a pretty good sized kettle of soup. So we'll put that in there.
Absolutely start with a big enough kettle that you can get this all in there.
Yes, absolutely. And once, you know, that starts to simmer a little bit, you're going to you know, the tomatoes will cook up and everything will all just kind of blend together.
Okay.
Now we're going to add a 1/2 cup of brown sugar. And a couple of bouillon cubes.
Okay.
So we're going to put them in there. Or just, you don't have to use the cubes. If you have the jar with the base, just take out a couple of teaspoons of that
Okay.
stuff. And now we're going to add a tablespoon of soy sauce.
Okay.
And let's just get this going. I'm going to add this here, and then we're going to get that going, and then we're going to add the rice here once this starts cooking and that.
Okay.
So, because the rice is already cooked, we don't need to be cooking that any longer. It's just kind of to the end, and then that's going to be a filler there.
Okay.
So let's just get that stirred up here.
And with the stewed tomatoes that you put in there, those are bigger chunks of tomatoes. Like you said, those are going to cook down once we get this going.
Right, they're going to cook up a little bit more too. And if you have your own home canned tomatoes, that's going to be just wonderful and stuff. And you know, you definitely do find that your home canned tomatoes cook up a lot better. They don't, you don't have the chunks in there and stuff. They just, I don't know, I think it's because they're fresh and they're ripe when you're making them. And sometimes you don't know how ripe those tomatoes are, when they're, when you're buying them in the cans. So, okay, so I think we can just leave that go for a little bit here.
Okay.
And like I said, I am almost sure, I know I'm going to add a little bit more water to that.
It's pretty thick right now, but
When,
we'll definitely watch that.
Right. Okay. So I'll let you just kind of stir that a little bit yet, and I'm going to get a couple cups of water and put it in there. Okay?
Okay. Break down the tomatoes a little bit more.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm not really measuring, I'm just putting it in from that bowl there, so that should be good there. So we're going to just turn that down a little bit and let that simmer, because the cake is going to bake 20 minutes.
Okay.
And so this has plenty of time to simmer and, be ready and
Okay.
stuff. So we'll come back to that shortly, and we'll just kind of watch that to make sure it doesn't boil too much or whatever. We
Okay.
just want it to simmer.
Now that you've added more water, though, would you ever have to adjust how much of the bouillon cube you put in, a little bit more flavor that way?
You certainly can. Like the recipe says, if it's thicker than you like, you can add just water. I like a little bit more of that beef stock into it, so I probably would.
Okay.
But we won't need to do that until towards the end, till we taste that and stuff. So
Okay. Okay.
certainly can. It's never going to be too much.
Okay.
So let's come on over here and start with the Mississippi mud pie cake.
Oh, there's no pie in there. It's just cake.
It's just cake. Mississippi mud cake. That's correct. Okay. So first of all, we're going to start with 2 cups of flour and 2 cups of sugar and a half a teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to just put that in my mixer here.
Okay.
And, if you want to sift it, you can. But what I'm going to do is just put it in my mixer here, and I'm going to just slowly let that mix up that way. Then
Okay.
you can save that step of, with the sifter.
The sifter.
But
Okay.
I do have a sifter, but I thought, you can definitely eliminate that. And just beating it lightly, it's going to make it lighter and, almost like you're sifting.
Okay.
So that's going to work just fine.
Okay.
So while we're doing that, our next step is we do cook, put this on the stove. We're going to start with a stick of butter.
Now this is the icing that we're making
Nope,
right now?
Nope, this is part of the cake.
Oh my, okay.
Yeah, this is the cake. So we'll get that.
This is a little bit more involved than buying the box from the store and adding the eggs and the oil and the water and calling it good.
But can you imagine how much better it's going to be?
I can.
Okay, so we have a half a stick of butter and now the half a cup of Crisco. And it says Crisco, so I would definitely stay with that.
Okay.
And now then it says 4 tablespoons of cocoa.
Okay.
So we're going to put that in. And then, before I put that in there, I'm going to put this, let's take that over to the stove and melt that, and then we'll add the water and the cocoa and just mix that all up.
Okay.
So I just need to get another spoon here.
How long
Yeah.
do we need to let this mix then?
It's, I guess, as long as it doesn't interfere with us, the longer
just let it go.
Yeah, that's
All
right.
right.
So let's just bring that over here. And like I said, it's the Crisco and the butter. We're just going to want to get melted. Doesn't that look good?
It does.
That's going to really stick to the ribs. It's just a good hearty soup.
All right.
Okay, well, we got that mixed up pretty good. Do you want to
Now,
bring over?
okay, so you want me to bring these ingredients over
Right,
here then?
the water and the cocoa. And then we're going to just bring that to a boil. Here, let me put the water in first. And then this we just pour over the dry cake mix then. Or
Okay.
I shouldn't say cake mix, the flour and the sugar.
Okay.
So, and this is going to come just to kind of a rolling boil once it gets going here.
See, this is one of those recipes that when you make it, I would definitely spritz flour, and whoever receives this cake or gets to eat it, they know you worked.
That you work for it, yes.
This isn't a Rice Krispie commercial. This is some serious business here.
It is. But it's kind of fun just to make something different than just opening that box.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, because way back, they probably didn't have no box cake mixes. So they were able just to, they made up their own recipes as they went along.
Absolutely.
You know, they probably was some of the best cooks back then when they didn't have recipes. They just made it from whatever they had and turned out probably the best.
I probably would have starved.
You probably was there. Oh. Are you saying your imagination wouldn't have been enough to?
We would have had eggs and milk and hamburgers.
Well, this has come to a rolling boil. Now what we're going to do is just pour that over our dry ingredients.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to just here, and I'll just slowly put that on and put that in there.
Oh, you smell that chocolate already.
Oh, and then when you boil it, you know, it really makes that aroma come out. And you know, we're going to be making our frostings, so we'll just be able to use the same kettle. I'm
Okay.
just going to put that over here. And while that's mixing up here,
And
we're
it's
gonna-
chocolate frosting as well. So
yes.
we are going to have chocolate.
Anything better? I don't think so. So we're going to put our eggs in there, and it says to slightly beat them, so we're going to just mix that up here. Okay. So now we're going to add our eggs to this.
Okay. Okay, so here's my question. I mean, you kind of slightly beat them, but that's kind of hot right now, that coming from the stove. Is that actually going to
Cook the eggs.
cook the eggs a little?
Not really, because it won't, because you have the flour and the sugar. It's not putting just the eggs right into the hot mixture on its own. It's
Okay.
already mixed in with the flour, and so it's definitely cooled down.
Okay.
So now we're going to add 3/4 cup of buttermilk. No, we'll back off. It's a half a cup of buttermilk.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to put that in here. And a teaspoon of soda. Just put that down there. And now a teaspoon of vanilla.
Okay.
And we all know I've been very fond of my powdered vanilla.
Yes.
But being this is a liquid cake and I have my regular vanilla, that's just what I'm going to use. So a teaspoon of that. And so I'm going to just bring the sides there. And then you're going to pour this in a 9x13 cake.
Okay.
A cake pan. And you're going to want to, I did grease that with Crisco.
Okay.
And the recipe says definitely use Crisco to butter your pan with. Don't just spray it or whatever. We're going to use the Crisco as the directions say.
Okay.
So I'm going to just mix that up a little bit there, and we'll put that in. And then we put it in the oven for 20 minutes.
Okay. That's not a long time to bake a cake, actually.
It really isn't, but you know, and it's at 400 degrees, so
Okay.
it's at a little longer. If you don't think your oven is quite bakes as hot or right on that 400 degrees, add another minute or two to it for the fact that you do not open up the oven to check that cake before the 20 minutes is up. Otherwise, the center will fall.
Oh.
So if you have any doubt and you want to make sure that it's going to be
Well,
right, I would add that
We're just
minute.
going to have you make this cake so that, you know, I'm pretty sure I'd open up that oven and
You want to look. You can't wait. It's like Christmas. You can't wait till Christmas morning to open up see what Santa brought.
yes.
Okay, so let's pop that in the oven. And then one thing too here, you know, I've got one of my other tricks that I do. I have to
She forgot
take
about
out.
this.
When I bake and use my cookie sheets and cookie pans, I always put my tins in the oven to make sure they're nice and dry so that they do not rust. And I forgot to take them out of the oven. So
They're warm right now.
they're warm right now. So let's just put that in. And I was going to mention too, because that cake batter is a little bit warm because of boiling the chocolate and butter and Crisco and all that, it's not going to take as long to actually heat because it's already
Everything's
heated.
warm. Okay.
Right. So let's put the timer on. And I'm going to do, as I mentioned, I'm going to go 21 minutes. I'm going to make sure that that cake doesn't fall.
Okay.
And can't touch that oven now. So
Maybe there everybody our viewers have good lights that they could look in on it.
yeah, you sure can. So that's just a boiling there and stuff. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and start the frosting.
Okay.
It's going to be really quite simple here.
Do you need any ingredients from here?
I do not need, except the vanilla. So I'm going to bring the vanilla over here. Okay. I'm going to put that there. We're going to, again, use a stick of butter.
Okay.
And definitely use your butter and not your margarine. And, you know, we all know that, you know, your margarines, they have more water in them and stuff. And it makes a difference to how they cook up and everything. There's nothing like, you know, just the good old butter.
Okay.
So I'm going to put that on low here, get that melted. And then we use 6 tablespoons of milk and another 4 tablespoons of cocoa.
Okay.
And so we're going to get that. Okay, we're making our frosting now. I did back off a little bit on doing the whole frosting because we only want that about maybe 5 minutes before, start about 5 minutes before the cake is done. Because you're going to put that on the cake right away.
Okay.
So, okay, we put our stick of butter in here, if you remember, and we're going to put our 6 tablespoons of milk and 4 tablespoons of cocoa.
Okay.
So we're going to get that going, and we're going to get that to a rolling point, or rolling boil. And then when that is done, we're going to turn off the heat, and then we're going to just we're going to add. It says 1 pound of powdered sugar. And again, that's going to equal the equivalence of probably, you know, because we're all buying the 2-pound bags. And that, you know, 4 to 5 cups. So, you know, I'm going to add 4 cups and we'll see what that's like. And if we need to add any more, we can add another cup or whatever. So
Okay.
I did turn off the burner.
Okay.
And now we're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla.
Okay.
And let's say we got 3 minutes left on our cake, doesn't it? And we can't look.
No. Well, I mean, we can turn the light on, but
And then a cup of chopped nuts.
okay.
And, you know, that certainly can be optional if, you know, you don't want, you know, nuts in there and stuff. So, but Mississippi mud can't be just creamy and smooth. You got to have some chunks in there. So we're going to add our powdered sugar.
Okay.
And you're just going to mix that all up. There's 3 cups, and I'm going to just mix that first. And like I say, you can always, add more if you need to, but if it's thicker or more than that you want, I would certainly, and it's easier to stir and get that blended up when you start with a little less
Yes.
quantity and stuff to get that smooth. And as we see here, it's not going to take too much more.
So probably just those 4 cups that you were thinking.
That mixed up there, and let's add that extra cup there. This one I'm going to make a little fuller because my others were a little bit scant on that cup.
Okay.
And now we'll just put that back on the heat element there, keeping it a little bit warm.
We're not going to have much longer. We just have a minute left on the timer there.
And then we're going to be able to take that out. Okay, so yeah, this is going to be about, so 4 cups is, to me, is just perfect here.
Okay.
Because you don't want it so thick that you can't spread it.
Well, it looks and smells wonderful.
It does. So we're going to have a hearty bowl of soup, and then we're going to go to delicious dessert. How about that?
Well, there's a couple of people that I work with that actually start with dessert first.
Okay. Well, it probably cuts your appetite to say you won't eat as much as the other, but if you're really hungry, you might overdo the dessert before you get to the others. So we're going to just quick put this rice in here. I've got about 2 cups in there. And there, so let's get that cake out of the oven.
Okay.
And we just might even add all that rice into the soup yet. So let's see how thick it is there. Okay, doesn't that smell good?
Oh,
so let's take out
everything
the
is smelling just awesome.
Whew, let's. Okay. Well, that looks like that is set in the middle for sure.
Okay.
So we're going to bring that over here. And
It's coming away from the sides a little bit, so.
it just definitely looks done. It is.
Okay.
And that was exactly 20 minutes.
No, you put 21 on.
Or 21 minutes. That's
Yes.
correct. Thank you. I'm going to just add the rest of that rice. Because it's already cooked, it's not going to absorb a lot of extra juices so that it makes it really thick.
Okay.
It's not like if you were putting in uncooked rice.
Okay.
Definitely. And like I said, what I did was I had two cups of minute rice that I cooked. Okay.
So it's not like tomorrow, once this sets and refrigerates with anything that's left over, that it's going to thicken up more?
It might thicken somewhat, but not a lot. Again,
Okay.
because like I said, the rice is already pre-cooked.
Well, and you did add quite a bit more water, so.
Yeah. And there are people, if you really like thick soup, you just cut back on the water and stuff. And look at, does this not look like?
This
at
looks
this.
like a little bit of chocolate heaven.
I think our cameraman can't wait till this is all done so he can turn the camera off and have a piece.
He'll let us know if we've made it correctly.
Right. Oh, yes. Now I have to stand up to his grandmother making this. So that's a big challenge. Okay. And this really does spread pretty nice here.
Now, does it set up pretty fast once it's starting to cool off? I can see where it's just...
Yeah, you can see it isn't really running a lot to the sides or anything like that. It's staying pretty much where I put it.
Okay.
So, and like this here, I think it's too good to even waste a little tidbit here. Okay. So we're going to set that aside. Now this is still pretty hot here. I'm going to just move that to the side.
Okay.
And so we can bring our soup over here. Now really what I would like to do is just to be able to cut a nice big piece out of here. But we know that with cake, you should let it cool a little bit before you take it out. So we're going to just set that over there.
I think the viewers can appreciate what we have shown here.
I think so, very much so. So we'll take this and we're gonna bring over our soup here.
And this is
Now
a
look
huge kettle.
It
We have a
is.
lot of soup here.
But there isn't anything better than leftover soup, or, I know I will be taking some of this for my lunch tomorrow. So we're gonna put some in here. Yeah, it looks fairly thick, but yet, it really isn't.
There's quite a bit of juice in there yet,
There's
too.
still quite a bit of juice. So we're gonna have a nice hearty bowl of soup here. And I trust you with the bowl before the cake, so I'm going to hold the cake for our viewers. You think
Well,
that's
what
fair?
does that say? I don't know.
Well, I'll set that over here so we can get this, but I will make sure I use pot holders.
Yes, because it is super hot. And doesn't
Oh.
that just look absolutely wonderful?
I don't think this is going to go stale.
No.
Okay.
No. And we have to thank Trace and his family for submitting this wonderful looking cake, and Sarah for submitting this soup. To get these recipes, just go to our website, www.ctctel.com. Please submit your recipes for us to cook for you. And as always, thank you to the Workshop for being our sponsor. Thank you so much, and see you next time when we do it all over again on Cooking Crave.